Hi everyone, welcome to
Yeah.
Coffee at ChemEng.
G'day everyone.
All right, so I'm here with Matthew Wolfenden, amazing fourth year student doubling up with biochem.
Yes.
And Matt and I, so it's Coffee at ChemEng. It's coffee, but it's someone else's ChemEng. Actually, we're at UQ today. And Matt just presented an excellent paper on augmented reality, all right, which we worked on together, but really was about you picking up what CAD, CFD, so computational fluid dynamics, computer design, 3D stuff, and then putting all together augmented reality, which then your peers, your juniors are learning from. All right, and that is not something that's typically asked of a single person, yet you managed to do that. So what's your view on someone who has to create content that us as academics, we want the students to engage with, but we don't actually know it's going to work until we try it, right? Do you have any advice for us?
Yeah, well, there's two parts to that. One, I don't want to just solely claim that I did all this. There is like lots of cooperation with different people within the university, and that helps. But on the actual point of making tools that students use, I think one, it does help to have someone who is from the student side of things working on how we make these. But two, I think a lot of students have like goals where they want to learn things, but a lot of the time they don't have the capacity to go out and explore like 10 million different options on how they want to learn. So I think having those tools tied into the course a lot better helps with student engagement with those tools. So if it's just something that sits on Canvas, a lot of students aren't going to look at that. But if it's tied to, say, an assignment or a lab in a meaningful way, not some way where students feel cheated at their time by having to use it, but where they're asked to, intellectually engage with the tool that they're working with. In my case, it's augmented reality tools. It could be something else. But if they feel intellectually rewarded by engaging with it, it feels like a good tie into what they're doing. There's no point in just creating something for the sake of it being there. We want to make sure that it's got a point for students.
That is absolutely true, and this is one of the good things about working with Matt and some of the other tutors who actually help me understand that just because it's there doesn't mean it gets used, and just because it gets used doesn't mean it's useful, right? So, okay, so on that note, is there anything that you would try differently that in terms of delivery, or how would you work backwards, for example, to help an academic understand that this is what actually helps them tick?
Yeah, so what I've been trying to improve with how I approach making all these augmented reality tools is having like a proper consultation session with the academic I'm working with, where I talk about their goals for what they want to implement in their classroom. Because a lot of the time they'll have different visions of, hey, I want some nice augmented reality tool, but they don't know exactly what they want. They don't know exactly where they want it or how they want it. So it's kind of figuring out like, okay, you want a fancy like 3D model that you can work on with your students, but what does that look like? What tools does it take to make that? Where are we implementing that in the class? Is it something that you're showing them in a lecture, or is it something that they're using in the lab? Something like that. And then how does that tie into the rest of the course? Like, how do we make sure that when they're using this tool, they're learning something relevant to the course and not just playing with something that's augmented reality?
Yeah, just for the sake of it, right? Yeah, because like I wouldn't pick up, and we had this chat at the beginning, because all jokes aside, it wasn't just about, oh, cool, here's augmented reality, let's just jump on the bandwagon, but more along the lines of what happens when someone, just can't keep commuting to uni, but they still need to learn. And, give someone like, a hammer and screwdriver here, take apart a heat exchanger, you will get it back in like 1,000 pieces. So there is that as well, but also by making more equitable learning, like, because different people learn different way. And this could be just one of the ways for just some of the cohort, and that's fine. We'll make the tools so that over time we'll just help everyone.
Yeah, and we're trying to bring a lot of more like lab-specific machinery into augmented reality. So instead of having like maybe an hour to work with a heat exchanger and then everything else is very theoretical from a textbook or lecture slides, you can instead place that heat exchange in augmented reality on your own desk and kind of look at it there, take it apart, see what's going on inside. That way you are able to have an extended amount of contact hours with that piece of machinery where you can just explore in your own time, risk-free, and just see what's up with it.
I love that. All right. Matthew Wolfenden, everyone.
Thank you very much.